What's up, everybody? Let's dive right in. Today's episode is brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee, but you already knew that. Let's go to their website right now and see what they have to offer. Okay, new gifting tins. What do we got here? It is a collectible tin. All right, so it's a new delivery device for coffee beans. A 12-ounce coffee bag. Oh, I bet the bag comes in the tin, and a PVC patch. Cool. All right, so it's kind of a standalone little gift, which, as I have talked about for the last few episodes, gifting season is right around the corner. Go underneath that, there is the roasting slide bar that goes from light to dark. You can go all the way to the lightest and all the way to the darkest. And all in the far end, what do we got? Silenced or Smooth is the lightest. Murdered Out is the darkest. To slide that back to the middle. The apparel, the gear, the coffee bundles, the coffee samplers. Best sellers, I would look into the best sellers section for some gift ideas. There's social media. There's an email list. At the very bottom is your normal stuff when it comes to information about the company. And that's where I would point you. They make this podcast possible. People ask me all the time, what can I do to give back? And there's two things. One is tell people about the show and help me spread the word. And two would be to support the brand that makes all of this possible, literally and figuratively. Well, they don't literally turn on the lights because I have to push that button. But figuratively, they do, because they economically allow me to have a studio, to take the time to sit with guests, all of that stuff. And that's it. Speaking of guests, my guest today is Mr. Rob Bailey. I've known Rob for a few years. I've had him on the show a few times. Once I think even had, I don't think I had. I know I had his wife, Dana Lynn, on. Same last name, Rob and Dana Lynn Bailey. I'm going to ask him this when he sits down. I don't know how he would describe himself. Probably would say an entrepreneur. He does, but I could see him saying a musician at the same time because he does music. He owns the brand Flag Nor Fail, which is based here locally in Montana, actually just near the airport. He's a new jiu-jitsu practitioner, so maybe he would say he's a jiu-jitera. I don't know. I'm going to ask him. But I love his journey. Started in a garage, built a multi-million-dollar business, travels, speaks, plays music, fascinating fellow. He's also not small. He's a very, very large human being. Episode number 358 with Mr. Rob Bailey. Enjoy.
Okay, I got the red smoke.
Gun run, north or south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
He was about 30.
It really just is all over the place.
I know.
No
but
one can
nobody-
see that though, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
They
yeah.
can only see.
This looks great.
That's all they can see. They can't even see the TV, which is amazing.
So my next podcast is going to be naked because I did make $100,000 bet.
What?
So I'm going to sit here naked and be shredded.
Rewind. Who did you make a $100,000 bet with?
Keaton Hoskins, the muscle.
Where does that name come from?
I think on the show they were like, "Oh, you have muscle," so they called him the muscle.
Was he the enforcer?
No. It's
Okay.
not. It's not that side. It's just strictly like you're jacked.
They're all relatively large,
Yeah, they're all big dudes.
which
Yep.
it's hard to tell because when you're in pictures with them, everybody looks the same. It's the same thing as watching the UFC. I
Yeah.
thought Conor McGregor was 6'3".
No,
Yeah, he's just over.
he looks it though.
Well, especially when he's fighting another dude who's exactly the same
Yeah,
size,
yeah.
and they're the only people in the frame of the camera.
You're a big dude.
I'm an average size guy. You are a large man. I am an average size height and weight for a dude.
Really? I feel like you're a big guy. Maybe it's because you choke me out all the time that I'm just like, he has to be huge.
I don't all the time because you've already quit training.
I didn't quit. I just got scared off when we did my cap roll.
That's not true. I didn't scare you off. I was gentle.
So
I was kind.
we
sir.
never even recapped what that was like.
I don't even remember it.
Neither do I.
Okay.
I remember my one victory that I had.
Which you didn't.
My one victory.
No. You
Listen.
mean the one thing that I let you do to make you feel like that you had an opportunity.
And what was that? What was that?
I don't remember. I'm just shooting.
Okay,
a hole
well,
in
I
whatever
remember
you're-
it vividly, okay?
You just said you don't remember it.
I do remember. So
Break it down. First off,
all right.
let's welcome to the jiu-jitsu world.
Thanks. I broke a sweat already
Yeah,
even thinking
not to the
about
podcast, but to the jiu-jitsu world.
I love it. It's really, really good.
Here's the thing. Here's the real question.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you what you do for a living, do you even say entrepreneur anymore, or do you say martial artist?
I don't. I was feeling a little confidence
Leading
prior to the cap roll.
Well, let's talk about why you even got into it in the first place.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. I don't remember. Did I reach out to you about it, or did you reach out about you and Dana wanting to get? I don't remember how it originally started.
So the original way it started was I got tricked into doing breath work once. Have you ever done breath work, like the heavy breath work that gets real emotional?
What?
Okay, so my friend was like, "Hey, come to this thing. It's in a yurt. We're doing breath work." And I was like, "All right." And I showed up.
Not liking the description of this anyway.
Listen, dude, I'm telling a story.
Okay.
And there was 15 guys there.
Super not liking this.
They were like, "Hey, everyone's going to cry hysterically." And I was like, "What am I doing?" They're like, "Oh, it's kind of a men's group thing." And I was like, oh, "Okay, cool. Let's try it." And I'd never done breath work before. So you a 2-step breath thing, dramatic music, and you sort of like over-oxygenate your body. And it can make you, especially if the practitioner asks you the right questions. Like a lot of times they're like, "Look at your 13-year-old self." And I'm like, fuck, 13-year-old me. And they're like, "Tell him everything that he needs to hear." And it's like, so it gets wild. But that first breath work thing that I did, there was like a reoccurring theme that kept coming back to me. It's like, you need violence in your life. You need violence in your life. Because like I played sports growing up. Yeah, 100%.
When you were feeling that, meaning like,
I didn't want to be more violent.
yeah, I mean, like competition, or you wanted to figure out a way to express violence safely?
It was that simple. It was just, you need more violence in your life.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, what a weird, so we all sat up and everyone had these really dramatic stories. And I was like, honestly, like I just kept thinking I need more violence in my life. And when I say violence, I don't mean like punching someone in the face. It just, I grew up with heavy physical contact. I grew up playing all sports, very competitive. And then I got into bodybuilding, and I even trained bodybuilding violently, like, which is why my body's so banged up now. And now, like, I feel like I'm grown up. So I've seen you a few times. I saw you on a plane once. I was like, we should roll.
We see each other all the time.
Yeah,
I see you more than you see me, but that's
I know.
just the way it is.
You're sneaky. You're sneaky.
Don't try to be.
I had to buy a new vehicle so you don't follow me. But yeah, I was just like, Dana had tried Muay Thai.
Yep.
But the problem was she was going by herself and she wasn't showing up enough. So she never really graduated past the first part.
It's tough.
And then what always held me back was I always thought that I would go to a class and a guy would be like, "Oh, this big dude, I'm going to twist his arm off." And I would just get hurt right away. That
does happen in some places.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just assumed that's what would happen, right? Someone would see it as an opportunity. And then I just reached out. It took me a little while, but I reached out and I said, "Hey, let's do this."
What did you guys, I never asked you, what did you guys think about it when you started? And so just for a broad context, you obviously know my wife. She's been on the podcast. So, I mean, she's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. She's very quiet about her actual competitive history, but she was a world champion at blue belt. I think she got second at purple belt. She's won Masters Worlds at black belt a handful of times. She's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She would never say any of those things, so I'll brag for her. And so you guys started training with her. What did you and Dana think about it, like, as it progressed? Because the first day is like, hey, you're going to get a fire hose in your fucking face and none of these movements are going to make sense. And
no,
you're not going to be
That wasn't my first day. So my first day we did like the little ankle sweep thing.
Yeah.
And it was such a small movement. And the fact that Dana could do it to me, I was instantly, one, I was extremely excited. And then two, I realized like, ooh, I should be a lot more careful in public because being 275 pounds and like,
you can get your way.
I can, every fight I've ever been in, I'm just like, yeah, I dominate this fight. No big deal. And then seeing that, I was like, whoa, like I am an infant idiot. So I got really, really excited. And then as it progressed, just every week, more and more excited, more and more excited.
So Leah and I were talking about it and we were trying to figure out like, hey, like, what do you think? Are they going to stick with this? Do they like it? And we were convinced because I kind of saw the light turn on for you. Just for dudes, we're used to like fucking around and being physical.
Yeah.
And it's a safe environment with the spring mats. And you could tell right away with you, you're like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
So Leah and I both agree like, okay, Rob is in.
Yeah.
But is Dana going to like this?
Yeah.
And dude, she ended up being as fired up as you.
Yeah, she likes it.
Which surprised us.
Yeah. The cool thing about Dana is she follows my lead 100%. So whatever I do, she's like all in on that. So if I said, hey, I'm going to bail on jiu-jitsu now and I'm going to start bull riding, she'd be like, I want to bull ride.
Don't do that.
No, I'm not going to. Okay. I'm not going to. But I'm saying that's she we're best friends. She likes following my lead. So whatever I'm sort of into. So like if I backed off now, she would also back off.
Okay.
But also if I book next week and book it out and I'm like training 4 days a week, she'll train 4 days a week.
We should train again soon. It's been a bit.
Yeah, I know. I have one more trip next week. And
As
then
do I. We go to fucking town tomorrow.
And then I canceled all of my travel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, Leah's going to be out of town for... her mom's getting cataract surgery, so she's going to be on the East Coast. Like I said, though, I'll link up with you guys and train anytime you want to.
I love it.
This space.
Yeah.
We should get you some mats over at Flagner Fail.
I'm down to do that.
Okay, here's what we should do. I don't know where this fits into your HR policy.
We don't have HR. We had HR for a minute.
I don't know if that's legal, but
no. Well, we had it for a minute, and then it got really lame.
HRE.
Everything was like just all day. Like people were talking about feelings, but like very unnecessary things. And I was like, no, I just want a smaller team with no HR, so we don't really have it.
But we'll get a HR office.
Okay.
Black the windows out.
Okay.
Put mats on the floor. Put up like meeting room, whatever.
Okay.
And tell individuals that, hey, you have a meeting at noon in the room where you're waiting to ambush them.
Okay.
Just to see how they respond.
I don't want to, that would be bad for morale. We have a really good team right now. Our team functions better than it's ever have. If I ambush them in meetings, I don't think that'll be good for people.
I will consult for this particular part.
So you'll be standing there.
I will do the ambushing.
You're going to do the ambushing.
Well, since you're unwilling to. I was trying to give you
Well, we'll set up the cuck chair in the corner, and I'll sit there and then watch you ambush. Yeah. There you go. All the things.
Well, how long has it been since you've been able to travel to a hotel and not recognize the clear
it's
cuck chair
it's
or
there every
Chase
single
lounger?
time.
Once you see it, you can't not see
No,
it.
no. I always put my bag on it now because I'm like, no, this is for my bag.
Yeah.
I've changed it in my head.
So the cap roll.
The cap roll. All right, so.
How'd you think it was going to go? Well, actually, describe what it is, and then how'd you think it was
Okay, so we trained for
a couple months.
Maybe 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Once a week, sometimes not a week, sometimes twice a week. I went up to Whitefish. I trained up there. I trained a lot with Alex. I rolled with you a bunch. The thing I like about rolling with you is my first rep, you let me do it, and you give suggestions. And then you escalate right away to like the third rep, we're doing other things. And you do that laugh, and I love it. I love it. And I leave there and I'm gassed and it feels great. And then when I train with Alex, he gives me really good progressive pressure. But the one thing I've been trying not to do is use my strength. Yep. Because I know that I'm stronger than everybody, I'm bigger than everybody. But if I don't learn legit fundamentals, I'm never going to be as good as I should be. So I've been like struggling with that, where trying to do movements and like, well, no, don't use your strength or whatever. And then when I do use my strength, it's just me being a meathead. So I've been progressively feeling better and better. And there was a couple of weeks where Alex and I rolled twice a week. And I was like, man, okay, cool. Like I'm getting pretty good. I know he's letting me do things. And then came time for the cap roll. And I went in feeling fairly confident. I didn't think I was ever going to submit you, but I thought that I was going to have an okay time. And
I feel like we had an okay time.
We had an okay time. And I went in there with the thought of, okay, I need to control my breath. I went in there with a very defensive. Like I wasn't thinking I was going to throw you around or anything. I was like, no, just don't get choked out constantly. Don't get, make sure I keep my arms in because my shoulders are real bad. So I was like, let's do all that. I knew you weren't going to Americana me or anything, but I also wanted to make sure that I just didn't let that
Smart.
open. And I went in and right away ended up kind of on my back and then just proceeded to be like, oh, he is in absolute control.
We did 3 5-minute rounds, I think.
3 5-minute rounds.
How fast does that minute go by in between?
It really, really fast.
It does, right?
Really, really fast. And essentially, and that's what I realized the night before, because once again, like because we were sort of doing all the private lessons, and I don't really ask questions, I like wasn't sure what it was. Mm-hmm. Like I kind of knew, but didn't really know. And I think if I was in a more class-like setting, it would have been like, okay, here it comes. We would have known the whole time. Dana was excited about it, and I was like, I am terrified. But yeah, ended up on my back. The few times that I wasn't on my back, I realized that every time I had ever remotely passed your guard prior, we were just doing light drilling. Because I was like, I don't even know.
Michael's smiling over there like, go fuck yourself.
It was just crazy. But my one big win, I thought I did pretty good, right? And I think that once I realized it was more to test like how I acted, like I didn't throw a punch or I didn't
That's all
bite
it
you.
is.
The one time I thought about biting you,
That's fair.
we made eye contact, and my
Yeah.
brain was like, bite his wrist, and I was like, what brain? What are you doing? I also didn't gas out too much, as much as I thought I was going to. But there was the one time when you twisted my head the other direction, and I saw you grab your own gi. And I was like, why would he be grabbing his own gi? That doesn't make sense. He should be grabbing me. And I was like, oh, he's going to choke me out with my own gi. And I was like, if I can stop that, then I'm happy for the day.
Yeah.
And I stopped it. Well, I avoided it. I don't know if stopping it's the right terminology.
Why not?
But I looked at it like golf, right? I hate golf. I think it's dumb, but I end up playing golf a lot. And I just look for that one good hit. And then I'm like, damn, did you see that drive? Or, hey, I sunk a 20-foot putt or something. And then for the day, it's like, yeah, that was my one good thing that I did. And I've learned to look at it like that. Like if I can get one good, even if it wasn't a victory, it was just like I didn't get choked out by his gi.
Why was that not a victory? So it starts off, you have to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
I started a little bit before Michael did. Otherwise, he could tell you, like my jiu-jitsu journey, I had no offense for probably 2 years.
Yeah.
I would lay on my side in a move. The first seminar I went to, they taught a move called the iron pillow, which John Frankel taught, where you're basically laying on your side. And so that's all I did for a year. Then my second year was just going to turtle and kind of frustrating people because they couldn't do anything, but I also wasn't doing anything. I think it was like, I guess I was submitting them through boredom.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I had the same mindset though. Like I'm not getting submitted. I had to survive. But at some point you have to kind of just open up the defense to find the offensive possibilities. And the cap roll is about my words. I'm not a coach, but I've worked with Leah enough on these. It's just an exposure to what the rolling aspect is because before you roll, you have to kind of understand the alphabet before you can write sentences or paragraphs and all that. So that's what the few months leading up to it is. And then the intensity piece, I've seen it exposed early now, and I think it's far less beneficial to do that. I think it's better to expose it later.
Yeah.
And then you understand a reset. People who don't know how to tap or understand the concept of tapping or where they should, they need to be exposed to that in a good setting, a controlled setting. So it's all about that. It's not even about, winning or losing. Look at that. Unbelievable.
How embarrassing. There we go.
I mean, it's all right.
Sorry, dude.
I mean, it just ruined the entire episode, but
Do we start over?
no, I don't think we need to.
It was one text message. No, I like it. I like the pressure of it. I like
The strength thing that you're talking about, that'll be a journey of a few years for you to get used to that because I'm bigger than most people as well. And I'm stronger than most people. And you can 100% use it and you'll glass ceiling. And you'll also realize that at a certain experience level, they want you to use
they want you to do that stuff.
Because as soon as you become rigid and you tighten up, I'm going to fucking kick your leg out from
know.
underneath you.
Yeah. No, I'm fully aware. I mean, I think I threw you one or two times in that.
Oh, for sure.
And as soon as I threw you, I was like, great. But I had the wits about me to throw you
Then you
just
gotta
out of
bring your shit back
frustration
in.
and was like, get those arms back to you as fast as you can. And then, so I don't even know what I looked like. I was probably like, and then just did this.
That's okay.
And then you just came right back and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. It was really, really cool. I like being under that amount of pressure. Everything you hear, it translates to the rest of life. It puts you back in touch with a lot of things that I'm not used to anymore.
And you started making posts in your car about it. It's awesome.
Did I?
Oh yeah. Like I don't want to be that guy.
So you've noticed in my 6 months, I posted once or twice in my car.
Yeah.
Only story posts. Because I don't want to be the guy that's
I know, I'm
like,
fucking with you.
like I've never taken a photo inside. Like
I'm surprised you haven't added like at BJJ to your Instagram.
No, I don't. I like don't want people to know.
Put a white belt like emoticon. Do you have your Michael Shelton BJJ?
I don't have that account.
Missed
actually.
opportunity.
Yeah.
No,
You don't have to get the new account. You can change your username.
Yeah, just change your username.
I'm not doing that.
Do you have purple belt underneath your?
Nope.
Yeah. It's just your picture and your profile is just you in all purple.
Exactly.
No, it's been a great addition to my life.
What did you and Dana think after the cap rolls? Because she rolled with Leah, right?
She rolled with Leah.
How was that conversation later that day?
So we got in the car, and you went to a podcast. We generally wrapped up and we drove separate. And I started driving, and like 5 minutes later, something started to change in me. Like I think the exhaustion, and then a lot of frustration with myself. A lot of like,
Really?
damn, like I really, because I was recapping the role and I was like, I don't feel like I did anything. Like there were so many there's so many points in time when I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here. This should work. This doesn't work. Like my hands got tired real fast. So I ended up being really mad at myself. And then also beyond exhausted. And my body was like shutting down. And Dana called me and it like hit my Bluetooth and I hit it. And she was in such a great mood. She's like, hey. I was like, what's up? She's like, like
You're just in the middle of this super positive self-talk session.
I'm just in my 10-minute block of like, Rob's not okay. And she was like, how'd it go? And I was like, horrible. She's like, wait, are you okay? And I was like, can I just talk to you later? And she's like, wait, what's going on, being a loving wife? And I was like, hey, mine didn't go like yours.
I'm
and I just
spiraling.
I said, mine didn't go like yours. And I hung up. And then I went back to my office. I didn't talk to anyone. And then I worked for about 3 hours. And then I saw her come to the door and like peek around and like walked in very, like she's walking to like a lion's cage. And she's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm good. It just took me a second. I'm back to being excited that there's so much more to learn. Leah tried to be like, hey, just so you know, no one can pass Andy's guard. Like it's not just you, it's everyone. And I was like, still doesn't make me feel better.
It's tough when you realize how deep the pool is and only your toes are in.
Yeah.
And I still feel like that with some people. Like we were just in Chicago, a buddy of ours. You might have met, you did meet him, Dan Hart. He came out with, you know him too, Henry Akins.
Yeah, I met a lot of people that day.
The day on the mat. Henry was what's the correct way to describe this? Asian-looking man who is the black belt.
Okay.
And when I roll with him, I wonder whether or not we are doing the same activity.
Yeah.
He is so fucking far ahead of me that every decision that I make nets the wrong answer. So now I've started to try to implement non-jiu-jitsu solutions to his problem. Like just freak out. Just do shit that maybe he doesn't know what to do if I do this. Like what if I just barrel roll on my stomach away from you?
Yeah.
And he's just there waiting for me, fucking me up. And I'm convinced, we did that seminar and I was telling Dan about this. Dan is one of his black belts. I'm convinced at the end of these seminars, he has to go find a quiet room and just be comfortable and just admit to himself that he works with retards. Because he's so far. Like everybody, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I think I understand the same concepts, but how the fuck is somebody so far ahead of me?
I know it well enough to understand that, like, okay, cool. And so it's translated a lot into the rest of my life. Like, I hear all this. You hear...
Well, then add to this. His coach was Hickson Gracie. Mm-hmm. He will tell you that he never even scored a single point on his coach. So how the fuck is that possible?
Yeah.
So if he can do that to me... But there's a guy that can do that to him.
Yeah. Now I've realized that in my own life, and I think it's making me like a better leader. And I don't want to suck BJJ's dick here or anything because I hear everyone else doing it. I'm like, shut the fuck up, guys.
Yeah.
But realizing I'm still extremely capable, and then you let me do nothing, and then there's people that let you do nothing. It makes me realize where I'm on the scale, and the knowledge just isn't there. The muscle memory's not there. And then like explain to my creative team, like when I break down a video or ads or a concept, and I see them like shaking their head, yes, I'm like, oh, that's what I do in jiu-jitsu. Like I shake my head, okay, I'm following, but I don't understand. And it's helped me a lot as a leader to understand like, ooh, okay, dare I say I'm a black belt in advertising. And these are just, this is me as a white belt, like just getting there being like, I'm strong. I know how to hold a camera, but I don't understand anything else.
You didn't start off as a black belt in advertising though.
No. And that's the same thing. I'm doing it for 15 years.
Yeah. How would you do against your 6 month ago self?
I would destroy that dude.
It's wild, right?
That dude, because it's myself, he would punch me in the face.
Yeah, but you would know it was you, so you'd be ready for
that. Yeah, and I would choke him out in a second.
But how wild is that? In 6 months,
I knew that first day.
6 months of it's. I want to say that it's basic skills, because from a technical description, it is basic, but the application in a 3-dimensional environment where an opponent has a say is more complicated. But if you realize that 6 months ago you'd whip the living fuck out of yourself.
I mean, it's changed the way that I would even fight. So I was in a bar And it was around like 1:30 in the morning in Nashville.
Which is generally when great shit happens. in
Great
bars.
time, right? And I
Good
was like,
decisions.
should we leave? And I was like, no, let's stay longer. I'm dancing. And then all of a sudden you see it happening, right? And I see it happening. And even the way that I approach that situation is 100% different than everything else. Like, I never even thought about swinging this time. I was like, because as we left, someone busted my balls like, oh, you do BJJ now. So like, what would you do? Would you fall on your back? And I was
You
like,
would walk away.
I was like, no, I was there with my friends. I wanted to make sure my friends didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, and if it did start, the way I used to fight is throwing punches and doing all that. Now it's like, I want to get a hold of someone, which I can do, spin them around, choke them as I back up, and then drop them, and then look for the next person, just so I can always see in front of me. When before, if I was ever in a fight, which it's been a long time, but I always get hit in the back of the head. I'm always so focused on what's in front of me that
That's the classic bar fight. Though.
I'm always just getting hit. And now it's like, I have my wherewithal that like, I'm not even throwing a punch because I'll break my hands. I just want to get home. But,
Better to avoid than participate in any way.
and then even understanding that like, okay, my knowledge now, like, okay, 3 years from now, how I look at that situation. But I think before I didn't understand that scale. I was just always so big and always so powerful that I was like, oh, as long as they're not a professional boxer, I'm going to wreck people. And now I'm like, none of that matters. None of that matters. And plus, I don't want to get shot or stabbed.
Yeah. Now the move is your big boy friends, like the guy you're in the $100,000 bet with.
Yeah.
Just let him grab you. Tease him a little bit.
He's very strong and athletic.
Strong
even
and
with
athletic is good.
even with my understanding of where I'm at, I still think that he and I, it would not go well.
I'm not saying it would be beautiful. It'd be like two rhinoceros fighting.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it with him untrained.
No, because he would resort to pure aggression.
It would something weird would happen. Like I'd catch an elbow to the face and be like, "Oh, you don't know the rules," you know.
I'll let him grab me.
But yeah,
I'll let Keaton grab me.
you know that's back to that bet to explain that bet because that's a big number.
That's a huge number.
We sort of started out
How
with.
did you land on that number, by the way?
We
You could have
originally
knocked a few zeros off.
said 50,000 and then I upped it.
Okay, why didn't you start at
So
5?
it's the only way that
It's only between you two.
just between us, yeah.
What's the duration?
January 1st.
Okay.
I have to be under 250, quote unquote, in the best shape of my life. So
Can
I
you
got
enhance?
what do you mean enhance?
Can you take Mexican
You can do
chicken
whatever you
breast?
want.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no rules about health.
I think there might be guidelines.
Like you can do Ozempic if you want. It doesn't matter, but you're not going to end up in the best shape of your life.
I
So
won't be your friend anymore. If
the
you do.
way that, because I did it in May with him, we did the same thing. We were in Cabo, eating way too much, and we both saw photos of ourselves, and we were like, "Dude, we are fat fucks. Like we are giant whales." He was like 305, and I was like 280.
How tall is he?
286.
Turn around. 6'3"-ish?
He's probably 6'2".
Okay.
So we were just we saw a photo of ourselves and we were like laughing, just eating tacos. And he was like, "Hey, by my event, let's bet each other $100,000 that." He's like, "What's yours?" And I was like, "I want to be 255 with abs." And he was like, "All right, I want to be." His was like 270 or something like that. So there's no way you can win. So it's not like I beat him and I got $100,000 or he beat me and he got $100,000. So the deal was a crazy deal. That we had to pick someone out in the audience and give them that money.
Okay.
So essentially I locked in and I was like, the only thing I can do is lose $100,000. So of course I hit my goal. And that's the same thing with January, except for now we give each other the money. So
Who decides who's winning? Like, what's the metric?
so mine's just weight.
Okay.
Mine's weight. So I have to be under 250 in the best shape of my life, which I'm very confident. It's 20 pounds down. I just need to, it's something I need to do anyway. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm successful. My wife likes me heavier. So like, I don't have a driving factor. And now that I can possibly lose that money, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I'm not going to do it. And then his is the same thing. So what's going to happen January, because it's not going to happen, is we're both going to just hit the goal.
I was going to say, what if you both hit the number?
And it's a wash. We could also both lose, and I can wire him 100 and he can wire me 100, but how
I
silly
feel like
is
that's
that?
each of you losing about $30, for the
Yeah,
transaction fee.
Yeah, so but there is also the opportunity that like he could hit it and all of a sudden I'm just like not paying attention or not in shape, and then I lose and have to pay him.
You don't strike me as that type.
No. So I like setting those big things because a different number, like we bet $1,000, you don't take it serious. But like $100,000, like I'm not losing that. What? It's not even like a real number. And that way we could make it $1 million. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to hold myself accountable to hitting that goal.
I would be more comfortable with like $1,000.
Yeah.
You guys are playing at a different level.
Yeah, but like, so what would it's not like we picked an aggressive weight goal. So how much do you weigh right now?
227.
Okay. So if I said, hey, in 1 month, you need to be 215.
Easy.
Yeah. Or
Probably
even,
should do it anyway.
even 210, right?
I mean, come on.
210's pushing it. 2 months to get the 210, and I bet you $100,000, but you can only lose the $100,000. You would hit the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would probably ask for it up front too.
No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. But you wouldn't win it. You would just hit your number. So it's
For sure.
It's just a different way to play the game. And the reason we came up with that is he coaches. Everyone coaches now, right? But he coaches, and he does that with his clients, which I think is pretty cool. So he'll get a client, and the client's like, yeah, I just can't, my diet, I think my body's just built like this. And he's like, well, what do you want to look like? And they're like, well, I want to look like this. And they're like, okay, cool. Wire me $10,000. So they wire him $10,000, right? Mm-hmm. And then he says, when you hit that goal, you'll get your money back.
I'm not a legal expert, but I'm worried that we are crossing some boundaries.
Okay, so he does this hypothetically.
Okay.
Right?
Again,
But I think it's a great thing because like you're so invested, and it's such a big number that like you have to do it. It's not like a friendly like, oh, $5, I bet you could throw this in the trash can. It's like it's such real money that it'll get me in shape.
It has to hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that everybody is coaching? Not that everybody is, obviously, but
I think it's fantastic. I think so. I started business when I was 26 years old.
Yeah.
I had examples that I was following. I chose them as mentors. They were people I was working for. One was a
direct interactions.
One was a restaurant owner, and I was like a salad guy or something like that.
But you knew them.
I knew them
in your real life, IRL, as the kids say.
Yeah, so I worked for him.
Okay,
right. And every job I've ever had, I've taken extremely serious. It doesn't matter if it's vacuuming. Like I'm like, what is the best I can do at this, right? And I want to, and then anywhere else I can help out, I want to help out. So me being a dishwasher, like I used to stay and like if a shingle was off on the roof, he was like, hey, do you know how to do shingles? And I was like, no. He's like, well, can you climb up on the roof and do shingles? And I was like, yes. Like never that's not my job. I was not raised like that. So any business owner that I've worked for, I become extremely close with because they realize that they can take advantage of me. Right. So this guy would take advantage of me. He would, he realized I was a young kid. They just want to make him happy. So like even bad stuff, like, bad things. We don't need to go right. Cause
like touching you?
No. But like, if he had a feud with someone else, he'd be like, hey, do this. And I would go do that thing.
Again, I'm not a lawyer. Let's be careful.
Well, I just said thing. That's why I didn't give examples. But I was just a young kid who wants to make my boss happy, right? Like I'm very, very good at taking orders. And I was able to watch him because I got so close to him. I was able to watch him go through like the business arc of all the hard things, good things, bad decision, right decisions. So I just looked at him as a mentor. He wasn't teaching me anything. I was just using him as my coach. And then I started another business with another guy. Same thing. Following orders as a designer, but doing everything and just paying attention. So I was learning from those guys, and there was no Instagram. There was no anything like that. So I didn't have examples of what I wanted to do because everyone that owned a business, I don't even know how they got it. Like I just assumed there was business owners and then there was the rest of the world. And even starting an apparel line, like, yeah, there's no way that you can do that. Like the apparel lines are these weird corporate things that there's a gate that you'll never get through. Your parents never got through it. No one's ever going to get through it. And then college didn't teach me that, right? College didn't teach me much. So I had to figure out everything the hard way. And looking back now, and one of the reasons I started coaching is because looking back now to like my first 10 to 12 years in business, I, only had effort in the beginning. So it was just extremely long work days, ruining friendships, ruining relationships, ruining my body, just being like, more effort's the answer. And I did that. And then we started to get successful because more effort eventually turned into success. And I started making like real money, and just squandered it.
Fuck yeah.
I started a race car team and a fabrication shop. I just did all this stupid stuff. The race team, my brother eventually came to me and was like, hey, you're spending $800,000 a year on this race team. And like, you don't even have a working car. And I was like, oh yeah, let's stop that. But I was like, oh, it's marketing. And I'd never looked further ahead than a year, right? Because no one had said like how to scale a business over a course of time. So I look at my first 10 years and I just want to go back and like shake that kid. I want to go back and be like, dude, you capped a business out at $10 million that if you would have worked with someone that knew what the fuck they were doing or was a coach or whatever, say they're $1,000 a month, right? 12 grand a year, which at that time I really had, I was spending on race cars.
Yeah.
If I would have had someone have been like, hey, we're going to put together a 5-year plan and I want you to actually sit down and think about where the brand's going, the standards, how you're going to set up your infrastructure. Because like I did this all as an artist. So like my art is based on passion and creativity. That's not how you lead. You don't lead on passion and emotion. And that's what I did. So like everything's blowing up and everything just got harder and harder to like 12 years in. I'm in charge of the fucking Titanic going down and I'm just like yelling. So looking back, it's like, damn, dude, if I would have had a coach or even if I would have had something, Dana says the same thing. Dana played college soccer and then she went like dormant. And when I met her, I sat her down and I said, hey, like I want to go over, we're married now. I want to go over your dreams. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Like I have a job, I have this, we have a house. And I was like, no, like what are your, like if you could do anything, what would your dreams be? And she's like, no one's ever asked me that. She's like, well, I wish I would have played in the World Cup. And I was like, all right, well, kind of late for that. She's like, well, I want to be a fitness model. I want to stay on the Olympia stage. I want to write for magazines. I want to own a gym and essentially just be a well-known fitness model. And I was like, cool. And she's like, yeah, but that's not like, we can't do that. And I was like, no, I think we can. Like, I don't know how, but I think we can. And then she was like, what's your dreams? And I wrote down my dreams and I was like, I think we can. And looking back at that guy that had that one conversation that one night, it's like, people aren't having those conversations, right? And I think there's a lot of people are in jobs where they know their boss, they see their boss and they're like, yeah, he's the boss. He's always going to be the man. But no one ever asks them like, well, do you ever want to be the man? And I think it's really oversaturated and prevalent now in social media where everyone's just doing it. So there's coaches that don't own businesses.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What you're describing are people you actually directly encountered in real life.
Yeah.
The world we live in now, and I'm not saying that everybody is full of shit, but there are bullshit
100%. And that's your job to figure it out, dude.
How do you suggest people separate the wheat from the chaff on that, though?
So I know coaches that don't own businesses that are really good, that like are really
Phil
good.
Knight was not a great basketball player, but he coached championship teams,
exactly.
right?
And
so
I think
you don't have to,
Yep.
but there are also some people out there who are just selling complete bullshit.
Yeah. No. And that's it's the same thing with supplements. It's the same thing with political parties. It's your job to figure it out.
But from a business perspective, what would you recommend for people? Like,
I think you find someone who's you have to watch and you have to realize like, is this real, right? Because social media is such a mess right now. I heard a really good analogy with social media that clicked for me 2 days ago. And it said, social media is, we just created fire. And when man created fire, not that man created fire, but we acquired fire. At first we were like, this shit's crazy. Like the woods catch on, like you don't know how to control it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where we're at right now with social media is it's a fire where anyone can upload anything. Bot accounts can trick you. My mom is on social media. She believes the weirdest things right now. Right. And, but it's because social media's been around for 10 years. It's a fire burning out of control and we don't understand how to utilize it yet. Like we can't make a gas stove out of the fire. It's just burning. So I think we need to use common sense. Look at someone, follow them for long enough. If they're putting out free information, then follow their free information and then eventually hire someone. And if you make a mistake, we've all lost money before, right? Like most coaching groups you can get into for under $500 a month, right? My college, the reason I dropped out of college is because I did the math. I was like, all right, I'm paying $26,000 a semester. Like I remember sitting down doing this math. My teacher showed up an hour and a half late to one of my art classes once, right? And then we sat there and we drew something. And I was like, yeah, I can draw. Like, what the fuck is this? So I did the math. It was $26,000 a semester. And I broke it down to all my courses and all my time. And I was like, I am paying $1,600 an hour to be in this class. And this woman just showed up an hour and a half late. Like, what am I spending my money on? So if you want to go sign up to a coaching group where you get on a call once a week and you hear from someone who's actually going through it, like, yes, Do I know how to source apparel, make apparel, supplement lines, fitness online apps, buy and sell real estate, host Airbnbs, run fitness expos? Like I've done everything. But I look back at myself 10 years ago and it's not, I don't want to tell myself like, oh, these are the good things I did. It's like, hey, these are the mistakes I made. And if I could go back and give myself 10 years ago, like, hey man, this emotional thing you're doing where you just like blow up on employees and you have no structure and everyone has access to you, if you really want to make this work, do this and sit down and think 5 years from now. Like, are you going to go to wholesale? How does that protect you? Like, what do you actually want to do with the brand? What's the brand's message? How are you going to build community? I'm like, oh, whoa, these are all really good questions that I didn't think of. So I want to go back and fix my mistakes. And now that I've made 10 years of mistakes, I have a storage unit that I just built, 10 acres of storage. It was a $6 million project. We only finished phase 1 and I'm getting my dick kicked in because I took out a... storage locker type stuff?
Yeah.
Here
in Montana?
Yep. I know. You hate me.
I don't.
The ground wasn't... it didn't have enough bedrock to do an actual building on. So,
dude, I don't hate the player, hate the game, right? However that fucking saying goes.
So...
The people are... The second you open your max capacity,
yeah, 100%,
why would it not?
100%.
Why would you not do that?
So, even through that arc, that process, I've made a lot of really bad decisions. Like I took out a construction loan that we had like in the clause that I had to break even. So I'm just paying $17,000 a month right now towards the construction loan, and I can't even get it to the real loan. Now, I've got over that, right? Yeah. It's going away. I've sold it. I've made a decent amount of money on it. But like even looking at that project, it's like, damn, if I would have just consulted someone that built storage and I would have paid them $250 to be in their month for a group and been the best student possible and been like, hey, or got on a private one-on-one call, even if it was $400. Like if I get on a call with you for $400, I'm with it enough to make friends with you, right? To where the next call I'm not going to pay for or whatever. So think about that knowledge compared to a credit in fucking liberal arts in college from a dude who's actually doing it to someone who has just been a teacher their whole life. And I think that's what made me feel really good about the value. It makes me not feel guilty about coaching it everything, you know? And even if they take the softer side of coaching, which that's a really big one right now, is they focus on like personal mindset and like who you are in your relationship with your wife. And yeah, all my friends right now that are going through divorces or have bad relationships, their businesses are falling apart.
That makes sense.
Right? So even if a coach is like, hey, we need to focus on your relationship. You're like, yeah, but I'm trying to scale my apparel line to 100 million. You're like, yes, but first we need to focus on your relationship. Who else is going to tell you that? No one's going to tell you that. We're all out here alone. Like if you have enough awareness where like I have a conversation with you in jiu-jitsu and then I take jiu-jitsu and realize that like, hey, if my body's a mess and my breathing's not right, I can't actually spar. Then I can be like, whoa, if my relationship's not right, then I can't actually lead a team and have them believe in me. But like most people can't put all those pieces together.
Yeah.
And if you can hire someone, even if it's a coaching group for $259 a month called Clear, Calculated, and Vicious. CCV, right? If you can do that, then yeah, cool. So same thing with social media. I love it. I hate it. With coaching groups, I love it and I hate it. But I think they have a really cool, like we're entering a really cool time, right? And I think I heard on your other podcast, Mike Glover was saying he was coming out with an app to homeschool.
Yep.
Right? It's essentially a coaching group is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a skeleton.
It's disguised as something else. But I heard that and I was like, whoa. I went to my brother and I was like, you should homeschool your kids. He's like, hey, calm down. But I was like, no, Mike Glover's coming out with an app. And it's the same thing. It's a coaching group. It's a guy that has the framework, has the information that can set it up for you. And I think that that's the cool thing. One of the cool things that's coming out of the fire of social media right now is people are like communities coming back, right? And it might be through Zoom calls, it might be through meetups or whatever, but like community is coming back. And now instead of having access to the chef that I worked for, that was a disaster, or the guy that was building gym equipment in his backyard who was a fucking scumbag, right? Instead of only having access to those two dudes, I can look at the whole scope of the internet and be like, ooh, I want to learn from that guy, and I want to learn from that guy, and I learn from that guy. And all of a sudden, you're just continuing education. You don't stop at 24 when you graduate college and then just go downhill for the rest of your life.
Speaking of fire,
Yeah.
Have you watched the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, I loved it.
Are you aware that that same motherfucker is out promoting Fire Festival?
I love it. I absolutely
Would
love
you
it.
go?
I thought about it. I thought about it because the first one was such a shit show, right?
When in that process do you, and this is us hypothesize, I don't know this man at all. I
Yeah.
would love to get him
Yeah.
on a podcast. I believe he can't leave New York. When in that process do you think he realized he was conning people?
I know a lot of guys like that. Like I know a lot of guys, and I think that's one of the strongest attributes I like in people is like delusional confidence. That like, no. You know what I mean?
I
though?
get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
However, at some point that tipped to fraud for him.
Yes, and you have to be careful with that. But I love, because like really great things don't just happen, right? They don't. Like the first time you start a podcast, you're like, I shouldn't be doing a podcast, but you believed in yourself that you should be. And that's something I try to teach too, is like, let's be fucking delusional. Like if Elon Musk can make rockets and try to send them to the moon
And then catch him?
and then catch them, like, yeah, I can do something. Like I can buy a couple Airbnbs, right? So knowing myself once 15 years ago or 20 years ago, being like, I don't even know if I'll ever own a house, to now like I own 10 Airbnbs. And
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's
And I'm-
awesome. Are they all up here?
Yeah. And constantly looking for more. It's like, I never thought that dude would exist.
Mm-hmm.
And even taking the risk on buying the first one, the second one, like completely delusional. Like my family's always had a mortgage. We've always struggled to pay bills. And now I'm just buying houses that other people can rent.
How do you do that? Do you pay for it up front in cash, or do you just basically...
How do I do it?
Yeah.
There's tons of different ways to do it.
Do you... What do you think is the best way to do that? I mean, can you get a loan on that and basically just have the income from the house paying on the loan,
Yeah.
so it's paying itself down? Is
Yeah.
that how you do it?
Yeah, that's essentially how you can do it.
Okay.
So there's Airbnb arbitrage, which is really, really fun.
I don't like that word.
Arbitrage?
Just because I don't know what it means. Also, we haven't used the word cabal yet. We're not,
Cabal.
We talked about
So
that
there's a
later.
whole cabal of people that do arbitrage.
Okay.
I don't talk like this.
Michael, do you know what cabal means?
It's like a group of secretive
He
people.
fucking knows more than we
Yeah,
do.
so he,
But we don't use
he
it enough.
Googled it as soon as we.
No,
Yeah.
I googled arbitrage.
He also taught me what soaking was last time. I don't remember what
Yeah.
that means.
no edging actually.
Edging. I still don't remember.
Soaking and edging probably, if you have a jump man, could,
Go hand in hand.
Oh, grab that informational material for Rob on your desk too, right
Oh,
there.
Scientology?
Yeah, Rob wanted to...
Oh yeah, I'm very interested in Scientology.
This showed up at the coffee shop for me the other day.
Really?
It was for me actually.
It might have been.
Oh, perfect. Oh, this.
Yeah. I've known you long enough now to know what's missing in your life.
Who the fuck gives out DVDs still? Like, where am I going to put this?
I don't know.
I have a home theater.
I know
that
you well
plays it.
enough now to know that this is what you need in your life.
So I'm going to keep this.
Oh, not only are you going to keep that, you're going to research that. You're going
All
to
right.
dig into that.
I'll watch it. I'll watch both of them tonight. So arbitrage is essentially you go to someone doing a long-term rental,
Okay.
right? So you find a house that you like. The reason I like long-term rentals is because essentially you're going to get like $2,000 for an apartment. So if you have an apartment outside Glacier National Park, you're going to rent it for $2,000. Now, if you do Airbnb, one, you don't have to deal with long-term tenants, right? Because the long-term tenant, the second they're in the house, they think it's theirs.
Yeah.
They start
Airbnb
painting
is
the,
basically a hotel.
they start painting the walls. They start hanging stuff up. They start complaining about, hey, we want a better refrigerator or whatever. Airbnbs, they show up, and as long as you take care of them, you're good. So the relationship's only 2 days, 2 or 3 days with the person. Then they're out. Then you go and you get to get your wits about you.
Mm-hmm.
You get to clean it. You get to see what's broken, and you're making $300 a night. So that stay is $900 as a you're already at halfway of your short-term rental, right? Or your long-term rental. So what arbitrage is you go to a long-term rental and you say, hey, listen, I will pay you $2,500 a month, but I'm going to arbitrage this. And then you essentially, you don't own the house and you just run it as an Airbnb.
So you're entering into the arbitrage with the owner of the property?
No. The owner just wants his $2,000 a month.
Okay.
So you pay him $500 extra, tell him that you're going to upgrade the house, fill it with furniture, and you're guaranteeing him $2,500.
Yeah.
Because you're making $8,000, and then you take the rest. So I know dudes with like, 50, 60 Airbnbs, because essentially you build the framework of the team and then you own no property.
I was going to say, so they're making their money off of that nightly rental and what's left over. Whereas another model would be you're making money by paying off your asset.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So
So a shorter versus a longer term.
Same thing.
play.
Like you could arbitrage. I don't trust people, so I would never do this, but you could arbitrage your parents' house, right? So you could say like, hey, I just graduated, mom and dad, my bedroom's empty.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, paint the walls and furnish it. and I'm going to pay you $300 a month, and your parents are going to be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then you can put your old bedroom on Airbnb, and essentially you're arbitraging through your parents. So that's one way to do it. Now, I don't do it that way because logistics are a little bit more. I love Montana, dude. I think that, and I'm right because my houses are all going up in value, but dude, I'll bet on Montana all day long.
I saw an article recently, and it said the title was "The fastest growing city in Montana isn't what you think it is," because most people think it's Bozeman.
Yeah.
It's fucking Kalispell.
I believe it.
By that, it was, I think, 3,000 people moved in, which is about the same amount of people that moved into my fucking neighborhood in San Diego in 1 month.
Exactly. So it's per capita, but it's growing. Yeah. And the same thing here. Everyone's on acre lots, 5 acre lots, 20 acre lots. So there's a lot less houses. But
currently,
essentially, I buy properties that I fantasize about, right? So like an A-frame overlooking a lake. So I'm set up a little bit different where I can buy them at all cash.
Okay.
And then normally what I do is
What's the benefit of that versus a conventional loan? Other than obviously you're paying a scrape for the interest rate.
So my core values, my number one core value I have is freedom.
Yeah.
So I make all my decisions based on freedom.
Okay.
So that's how I structure what I buy, what companies I start, who I'm involved with, who I'm not involved with. So even how I do my taxes, right? So I could be a lot more creative on my taxes, but it encroaches on that freedom because
also might draw the interest of an entity you don't want
exactly
digging through your asshole with a microscope.
If I ever get audited, all of a sudden, like I was audited once and it took 10 days and it was like, it just consumed me. I was like, ooh, I never want that to happen again. Yeah. I also don't ever want to go to prison or anything like that, right? So I play very safe on the tax side. But the things that I do buy through like Realty and Leasing, which is one of my companies, are like heavy equipment and other things that give me more options to have more freedom. Now, when I make business decisions, I rarely go in with partners, right? I no longer get involved in companies that need a large workload from me because once again, you're taking my time from me. And then as far as houses go, I don't want to put my money in the stock market because I don't feel like I'm in control of that. I have a little there. But when I buy houses on all cash, it essentially, I'm able to negotiate better. Those are like the positive things. But the big thing for me is like when COVID happened, right? Am I allowed to say that word now? I remember for a while you weren't allowed to say that word because they would like throttle you down. But anyway.
Dude, looking back at that 2-year time period.
Crazy.
How fucking wild was that?
So my Airbnbs got shut down for 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months. I still had bills rolling through, right? And I think my bills were something like 12 grand. It was either $12,000 or $24,000 a month.
Across all of them.
Across all of them. Because we still had to pay heat, electric,
for sure.
All that stuff, right? I still had to get the driveways plowed, all that thing. So I had this thing and I was like, whoa, there's no money coming in. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, but thank God there's not these mortgages. Because I look at real estate, it's not my main thing at all. It's if I make some money somewhere else, I don't know where to put it. I'm like, real estate's the safest option for me. I'm going to bet on Montana. So for me, the freedom aspect in that decision-making of business is I don't want this to take time away from me. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm upside down, which is the opposite is what I do with the storage units, right? I didn't go in cash heavy. I financed generally the whole thing. And it's been stress. So it's taken like emotional freedom away from me because I've been laying awake thinking about it. So that's why I do it.
That makes sense.
Is it the right business move? No.
And you have the ability to do so as well. So
I have the ability to do so, right? Now, could I have 50 Airbnbs if I only put, 20% down, 20% down and had to play all these games? Yes.
But if COVID 20-5 hits.
But if they shut it down for 2 months, all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh. How do I...
Your $24,000 bill goes up to about $240,000.
Yeah, so how do I float these mortgages, right? So for me... my passion is design. My passion is making apparel. My passion isn't real estate. Real estate's
woodworking.
What's up?
You forgot woodworking.
Woodworking. I love woodworking.
What do you call that thing? A plane?
Sawmill.
I actually have a utilization for it.
Do you?
Yes. We need to build something.
I'm building a hay structure right now out of all wood that I made.
I don't want to build a hay structure.
Well, what do you want? I could cut you some like nice live edge stuff for the coffee shop. I can do anything.
Helicopter landing pad.
Out of wood?
I need to do the boundaries of it because I'm going to move some earth to make an area where I hypothetically might have landed a helicopter at my house.
Yep.
To reinforce it a little bit and compress.
We can do that.
Oh, I know.
We can do that.
And the trees are already out there and cut down.
And so that's the greatest. once again, just back to like the simplest things for me is I have the sawmill. The trees fell on my property. I milled them. I let them dry, and now
made something cool out of it.
I'm going to build a hay structure with only wood that I cut. It shows my age, but like I'm also really proud of that. You know,
It's fucking cool.
thanks, man.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Thanks,
I like
man.
stuff like that.
And I can tow it out to your house, so we can mill the lumber at your house.
And then all I need to do is move some dirt. I just need.
Which I have an excavator, I have skid
That's
steers,
what I'm
I have all
saying.
that.
Like, this is solvable problems because
yeah.
I think you and I agree on this. Who doesn't need a helicopter?
Everyone needs a helicopter. The helicopter
If
landed.
only it was that easy.
It landed in my parking lot yesterday.
That's the same one I flew down to Missoula.
Yeah. My helicopter passion has lessened since I got the 206 because the 206 is like slower.
Different purposes.
Understood. Yeah. And then when the helicopter landed in my parking lot, I was like, man, I really need a helicopter.
I have ideas.
All right.
I have ideas. I think I figured out a way. Well, Kyle, the guy,
Yep.
was my flight instructor.
Yeah.
So I got my license, still dealing with the FAA on the medical side of the house. But he understands the industry, as in there's
where to lease from.
Well, not even that. It's acquisition, but then what do you want to do with it and what opportunities are available? So there's this, I think, and we can talk about this off air, because I think that there is a huge tax benefit on the acquisition side and a way to structure the business where it's no cost, if not a slight profit. And then you have a fucking helicopter to land at flag or fail anytime you want to.
That's why I originally bought my plane.
Yeah.
Is because the end of the year I heard my taxes and I was like,
you can land that at Flagner Phil.
the 206, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, once probably.
Well, I don't know if I could take off. I could definitely land.
So
I could probably take off, but I'd have to go through everyone else's property to avoid the power lines. I'm not going to do it.
There's a freeway right by where you guys are at.
I'm not doing that, dude.
And you could just turn on to. I'm saying you land on the freeway.
This
and
isn't Alaska.
I'm not saying you wouldn't lose your license or aircraft. I'm saying you could do it.
Okay. You can do anything once. There's that delusional hope.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, perfect.
No, so I have plans for the. As I was looking at the property, I'm like, okay, who do I know who does woodwork? I'm like, fucking Rob.
Yeah.
Has the answer to the
I'll tow it.
structural infrastructure that I need to then just move dirt into it.
I'll tow it right to your
flatten
house. We can pick the trees.
They're already down. They're already cut.
Well, perfect.
Yeah, they're already stacked and drying.
Well, then, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Just let me know. It would take, I think if we cut for a solid day, I bring my skid steer over, we can load them on. And
Well, first off, I have absolutely no idea from an architecture perspective what would be required. So I probably should show you what I'm talking about.
So the cool thing is I cut bigger. So like my hay structure, my last barn, I built all the posts out of 6x6s, which is fine. This time I'm building 8x8s.
Yeah.
Just because, dude, they're like this. It's just way overkill.
I don't even need
it's
a structure.
Stupid.
I'm literally talking an external
No,
barrier.
I know. Yeah.
So again,
So, dude, you could make the posts 12x12s. Like that's the cool thing about having your own mill is wood that you would look at before and you'd be like, I'm not buying that cross beam for $1,100. It's like, yeah, I'll make it with this.
That's pretty.
Plus, you get the fulfillment. You know.
Yeah. What do you do with all the sawdust?
It just sprays on the ground.
Does it naturally just reabsorb itself and kind of? Does it turn into like a mulch? I feel like there's
I've honestly never really paid attention.
I feel like there's a tremendous amount with the milling.
So the big payoff for me is the extra slabs.
Yeah.
So like as you square it off, you get all this extra slabs. So I cut those up and then split them for firewood. So it's like it's already dry. It's great. It's manageable sizes. Dude, it's been such a great addition to my life.
Yeah, I do.
As a hobby.
I like when you post that content.
Thanks, man.
I'm here for it.
I'll do more of it.
I think you should.
Yeah. I have a question.
Fire away.
So in the fitness industry, something just happened 2 days ago, and I'm getting a million messages about it. Good topic, right?
I think I know exactly what you're
All
going
right.
to
So
talk about.
So I'm 41 years old.
Yep.
So I've been in fitness for about 20 years. And one of my favorite bodybuilders back in the day who wasn't even competitive was Mike Van Wyck, right? And Mike Van Wyck, there was this thing called the animal cage where you would go lift, and he never lift. He would just sit on the bench and look like the meanest motherfucker in the world. And I've always gravitated towards, especially when I was younger, like toxic masculine males, being like, that dude's a badass. Like he looks like he's just going to punch you in the face. I just always liked that, right? Like
Okay.
I like the intensity of that.
Okay.
Now that I'm older, I sort of see through a lot of that, but I'm aware those guys exist. Right. So Mike Van Wyck is covered in tattoos on his face. And they're the kind of tattoos now people get tattoos for like fun decoration, to look more stylish. for all different reasons.
Yeah.
20 years ago, you got tattoos if you were a bad person.
Or you wanted to detach from modern society.
Yes, you were a bad.
Like the face tattoo was, I don't ever want to be employed again.
Yeah, and now kids at 18 years old want to be, SoundCloud rappers, and they're like, I'll get a face tattoo. So they're different, right? So just like any other industry in the world, people talk shit. Mm-hmm. Now, Mike Van Wyck was Drake's bodyguard. Like, he is a legitimate thug, which I love. And he gives out workout advice, and it's very, just do the hard work, right? And the science-based approach guy, there's a guy, I don't know who he is, but he's very small, natural, which I don't think there's anything wrong with natural. But as a male, if you're going to play the game of bodybuilding, you kind of get on gear, right?
Are you saying that the Mr. Olympia athletes are not natural?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would you make such an assumption? They carry a very natural physique and amount of muscle.
Come on, man. Come on. And that's why, again, shout out to my wife, because if this is cut out, like, she's the one person that did it.
We don't cut things out, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So she's the one person that did. And the thing I love about her is time, right? Like, the only way to really prove, like, because you can deny being natural. You can say, I'm natural, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. But with females, because you're injecting male hormones, it fucks you up. And being that she's been at the top of her game for like 15, 16 years now, and she's still not seeing side effects, there's no way you can do that as a female. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing I can remotely use to prove to her, because it's just my word versus everybody else. But
have you heard of Mike O'Hearn?
Yeah.
Do you know that he claims that he's natural?
I'm good friends with Mike O'Hearn.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm really good friends with Mike O'Hearn.
How can he claim that he's natural?
So the thing I like about Mike,
I won't put you into a place where you have to confirm or deny.
Okay,
Michael, pull up a picture.
So
of
I'm
going
to do two things. Is it going to come on the screen?
Oh, fuck yeah!
I'll do two things with Mike O'Hearn.
Okay.
So one is Mike has been in amazing shape his entire life. Like, Mike as an 18-year-old is crazy.
Okay, let's take the picture on the right there.
That's what he looks like right now. Yeah.
Yeah. How old is he?
55.
Can you think of another human being on fucking planet Earth that looks like that at the age?
Ask me a direct question.
What's the?
Do I think that Mike O'Hearn is natural?
Yeah.
No.
Then why does he tell people that he is?
The cool thing about Mike is, and one of the reasons he's still so relevant is, one, because he stays in such great shape, right? No one continues that shape so well.
Jesus Christ.
And dude, he's tall.
Is he? Again, this is
so he was
can't tell.
He was an American Gladiator. So remember American Gladiators back in the day, and those dudes were like freaks?
Do I remember it? I used to fucking stay up late
dude,
at night to watch.
that's Titan from American Gladiators.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons Mike's so popular is he stayed in shape, and he's in his 50s, right? So like, he's just staying relevant, and he's getting better, which is crazy. One of the other reasons is he understands how to troll people.
I don't think he's trolling.
No, look, dude, watch any of his content. He is just master troll. Like, he's playing the game of social media.
He won't answer the question when he's asked if he's natural or not.
Because
he says he's natural.
If he answers the question, the game's over.
What game? I have fucking eyes.
The game of, we're talking about him right now. What other 50-year-old bodybuilder are we talking about? We're not, because they're not on Instagram playing a game, right? That's why he has so much attention. And I think I'm very transparent and honest on social media, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend. I don't upload things from 10 days ago. Like, if you see something, it's what I'm doing right now. I have a lot of friends that are like, dude, my personal life matters. I don't care about social media. It's a marketing platform, right? Yeah. Now, I'm going to say that I don't think Mike's natural, right? But Mike, at the age of 49, had a son. Can you pull up Mike O'Hearn's son? His son is like...
Is it going to be another dude in tidy whities, but just smaller?
Dude, his son... And if you understand, like, kids' genetics, like, you see his son for how old he is.
Yeah.
But, like, look at that second photo.
Yeah.
Like, that's him at, like, 3 years old. So he's obnoxiously big, and he has, like, muscle forming already, which, once again, could be Photoshop. But, like,
that would be fucked up if that's Photoshop.
Yeah, right? But he's a freak little kid.
All right.
And so do I know Mike's not natural? No.
Is he a nice man?
He's awesome.
Okay.
He's really caring. He's really sweet. He's one of the guys that'll text me out of the blue and be like, "Hey, bud, thinking about you. Hope everything's okay." Cool. Like he's a really, really, really solid dude. Like really solid dude.
Fair enough.
A great relationship. Great. He cares about his kids so much. He's done so much for the industry. He's just really leaning into anything that gets popular online, he leans into, and it brings him so much attention. And that's the reason that we're talking about him right now. That's the reason that, you know, there's photos of him up, is because he's playing that game on social.
So there's the tidy whities.
Yeah.
The picture next to it with like the concrete background.
Yeah.
What in the actual fuck do you have why did you click on that one, Michael?
I thought that's what you wanted.
No.
This one.
What in the actual fuck do you have to coat yourself in to achieve that color? Is that lacquer?
So that's well.
And I'm not saying that negatively. That's pure fascination.
Yeah, there's pro tan on that. So he might have been guest posing or something like that.
Okay.
So when you get on stage, you completely wash out. Like lights hit you, all of a sudden, like you don't look the same. That's why.
But what is that shit?
He's very tan.
Yeah, but I mean, is that like an oil-based fucking wall paint?
No, so it's like a stain. Same thing you use for your deck. Yeah. So it's just a really aggressive spray tan.
Okay.
And then he probably has some oil on him too.
God damn.
Yeah. But he doesn't look like that all the time.
I know.
Like I'm saying this is either prepped for a photo shoot or this is or a guest posing. So like if Dana was to do a guest posing right now, she's not tan. She is tan because we just came back from Cabo. But we would go there, she'd go backstage, literally get naked and stand like this, and they spray a tan on you. And then she stands like this. She has a little device that she urinates out of. Like it's like a cup it's like a funnel.
Shut the fuck up.
And then you put the funnel on and then you urinate. She has to sleep in a hoodie. It dries and then you're that tan. And then when you guest pose, you're that tan. And then it takes 4 or 5 days to wash off. Yeah.
I don't feel like that's good for your skin.
I mean, it's like makeup for your entire body.
Okay. 2 days ago, what happened in the fitness industry?
Oh, so Mike Van Wyck, we established thug, big guy, 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Drake's bodyguard. Little skinny, not skinny.
Science guy.
The guy's in decent shape, but he's science guy. He's one of the guys that like wants to talk about like, okay, when like elbows in and this is you need exactly 37 seconds rest time, all that stuff that like doesn't.
Scientist.
It doesn't attract me to bodybuilding. Like it doesn't attract me to weightlifting. Like there's something about just, yeah. So Mike Van Wyck without tattoos, this is an old photo.
Yep.
And then this Jeff guy, Jeff Nippard, who's very popular online right now.
Nippard.
I love Jeff Nippard.
Do you?
Yeah, I
What
really
does he
like
do?
Jeff. He does a lot of just like tips and tricks and stuff. And
Yeah. Great
things
information.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're into it, you're into it.
So what happened though?
So this guy on the left, he's currently 300 pounds. He's a big dude.
Nippard is.
No, Wick.
Wick, gotcha.
Now, Jeff on the other side is, what is he, 5'5"?
He's like 5'6", 170, 180.
So he's 170. So he's
Okay.
half the size. These photos make him look like they're the same size.
Yeah.
So Jeff made a video about Mike. Mike doesn't like that. And Mike walked into the gym and gave him like a nice solid toss to the ground.
Here's
Yeah.
the video. So hold on a second. After we watch
Because
this,
I sort of want to, I want to give my opinion and I want to hear your opinion because I really respect your opinion. Like it's always,
That's dangerous.
it's always a little bit different than mine, but it's good. So Mike walks in and then throws him on the ground. Now, the next post that Jeff made was from the hospital in front of a CAT scan. He's like, hey, just got checked out. I'm okay. We don't know what happened before that.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened after it. Apparently, there was a little bit more of an altercation in the gym, like, hey, keep my name out of your mouth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my opinion, this is, I mean, dude, we're looking on TMZ right now. Like, these dudes don't belong on TMZ. So when I saw it and it got
Slow news cycle.
it got sent to me for the first time, I was like, yeah, a grown man pushed another grown man. What? But like the fitness industry that I thought had a harder edge to it, that was like, we're in the gym, we're going to war with the weights, like iron always weighs the same thing. I thought would see this and be like, yeah, a guy talked shit on the internet and then a guy showed up in real life at the same gym and then shoved him. Don't interrupt me. I see you fucking straightening your mic, right? And then so a grown man shoved another grown man because the internet showed up in real life. Do I think Mike should be shoving people? No. But I also think that there's certain people that I wouldn't use as examples on the internet because I'd look at them and be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to talk shit on the Hells Angels. Why would I? I'll talk about Harley, but I'm not going to make a video about the Hells Angels and how they don't know how to ride bikes, right?
That would be a questionable choice.
Right. So I think it was, you got to look at Mike Van Wyck and realize that like the tattoos, like he's a real dude. He's the kind of guy that will show up. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. But now that it's been 3 days and it's still like this giant fucking deal. And all I see is a grown man pushed another grown man because one grown man was talking shit on the internet.
Michael, what were you going to add?
So
Here's more
originally,
context.
We're lore dropping right now. That's the term.
What is it?
Lore dropping.
lore dropping.
My 16-year-old daughter hit me with this one the other day. We're lore dropping.
Okay.
So originally, Mike Van Wyck made it the original video and said, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he did mention like how science-based lifting is a scam and all this stuff, and which I don't really have an opinion on that, like whatever. And he specifically mentioned Jeff Nippert.
So he said if all these science guys really know what they're doing, why are they all so small?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Which like I don't whatever, like it's just an opinion.
Yep.
And then Jeff made a video and he said he's kind of defending himself. He was like, yes, I do science-based lifting, like if you don't like that, whatever, but here are my accomplishments. He like won in natural bodybuilding. He holds a record in bench press in Canada and blah blah blah. To me, it didn't seem like it didn't seem like he was talking shit to me.
Yeah.
And then they meet at the gym, and then that video occurs.
So what's my opinion on that?
So my opinion, I thought it was refreshing to see the internet show up in real life.
I wish it happened more often.
Okay.
So I operate under the elevator principle. I would never say something to somebody online that I wouldn't say if I was trapped in an elevator with them. Because things are supposed to have consequences. And I'm not endorsing or saying that you need to be doing this.
They put lipstick on him in that bottom photo?
I literally had the same thought.
His lips are very
And Mike's in like black and white?
Totally.
Oh, they did him dirty on TMZ.
There's some creative
Wow.
editing going on right there. When you and I were growing up, if you wanted to talk shit, like when I was in high school, if I wanted to talk shit to somebody, I could go do it at school.
Yeah.
I guess I could write them a letter if I had their address.
Yep.
I could try to figure out what their fucking rotary dial phone number was and hope that it wasn't busy at the time. But that was really it. And all of those would terminate in real life consequences, specifically what you said to people in front of their face. And that governed behavior.
Yeah.
It is pretty apparent that a lot of people have detached what we do on our devices with real world consequences. And I think that that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who wants to enforce the real world consequences on somebody else, though, you're responsible for fucking your actions.
I understand that.
You know what I mean?
And I think that Jeff pressed charges and did all that stuff.
Yeah. Which that'll terminate in some publicity and probably a bullshit settlement, right? I mean, but fuck around and find out. Michael, what are you doing?
Sorry.
He's back in it.
We're good.
Yeah, he's watching fucking ducks play chess over there on his TV monitor or something. Dude, fuck around and find out. It would round the edges on a lot of behavior.
Yeah.
I would love, like a great TV show to me would be we scour the internet for the largest shit talkers and figure out a way where they end up in a Thunderdome cage of some kind with the person that they're talking shit to.
See, I kind of expected that response.
I mean...
Yeah, now do I think, you should show up and throw violence at everyone?
That's not always the answer.
No, but I think that one for me, it was refreshing to see. And then I'm also watching how the fitness industry's handling it, and I'm like, it's giving a temperature on it's kind of everything else that I've seen in the world, which is like people love being offended. People love being soft, and
they also love to pretend to be hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are countless sectors of people that want to describe their activity as doing battle or being at war.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, and I say this with no judgment, but absolutely nothing that happens inside of a commercial gym environment approximate anything closer to warfare. Yes, weights can weigh the same. You are battling yourself, but you're not going to fucking war with anybody. And in my personal experience, those who use that in their vernacular the most are least likely to actually have any desire to participate in said activity.
Yeah.
It's a persona or a facade that they like to talk about.
Now, I've made a lot of music where I make very aggressive lyrics like that. And I like the mindset of that. You know, never been in the military. People Google that a lot. I've
Really?
never.
How
yeah.
do you know that?
I don't know. Somehow I found that out because I think when I made my music, right?
Yeah.
So when I originally started making music, I was like, ooh, I want these very specific lyrics, positive affirmations that make me feel as tough as possible to play in my headphones moments before I do things that are very aggressive. So, you know, hold strong, I'm battle tested, for example. And I think one of the people that music took off in the military because it works for both, right? And I, you know, we can say guilty of that, but I've utilized that mindset a lot in, you know, to what I imagine war would be like from watching movies and stuff like that. And then going to attack a task with that mindset of like, I'm willing to die for this. It's like, I'm not willing to die for t-shirts, but like I approach things like that. But I'm also not, I don't think very, I'd say I'm not very verbal about it. Except
What
for
you're not doing, though, is portraying yourself as, I'm a warrior, right? I
would hope so.
Well,
Yeah.
I like this mentality. I can apply it to this. I'm going to attack this from a military perspective. I mean, I know athletes who are taping their fingers and wearing plastic pads and talking about going to war on Sunday. I get the metaphor, but let's back it off a scotch.
I know. I agree. I agree. And I think that once again, that's because I think the same reason I'm glad I'm training jiu-jitsu is because I think a lot of people like what we just watched on the screen.
Yeah.
Remote violence.
And that was minor. And the pre-violence indicators were all there, even from the beginning of the video.
I think there's even more
Yeah.
that were happening, but I think that everyone thinks that it's never going to happen. And then when it does happen, it's this big surprise. And I think that's what I really liked about starting jiu-jitsu was like right away I saw a couple little moves and I was like, oh, like, my God. Like when you were like, oh yeah, this move's great because you can do it on people with t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you can choke me out with my own t-shirt?
And
like,
it will hurt.
So I think that that awareness isn't there with a lot of people, like that it exists.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because most people will never touch physical violence.
Yeah.
But in never touching physical violence, they don't understand the consequences of some of their behaviors.
Yeah.
You know? So it's not that I want people to get their shit pushed in all the time, but maybe every once in a while.
Well, I think we need to be aware of it. So
Yeah.
I follow a couple pages. I'm going to blank on the name. You know, I blank on names all the time. But I follow a couple animal pages like Nature is Metal.
Yeah.
Because do I enjoy seeing animals get rocked? No.
Do you like when I put up motorcycles getting T-boned by cars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I follow
Mixed
that's
reviews on
the
those.
only reason I follow you. So I follow Nature's Metal because I like being reminded that like a bird will eat you alive while you're still standing alive.
For sure.
Right? Because I think that in the human population, there's a lot of people like that that will stomp a baby and they don't care. Now, do I know any of those people? No. But I like the awareness that they exist. And then I follow, I can't think of his name. He's a ex-military, now he's a security guy. And he posts a lot of videos of like altercations outside bars, and then a guy pulls out a gun and shoots everyone, and then he breaks down the situation. And he's like, okay, look at his body language, look at this. And I think so often I'm in situations where, or used to be in situations where like I posture and I'm like, I'm going to remind everyone how big I am to defuse the fight. And I think watching videos or following pages like that remind me like, yes, but that little guy might punch stab me in the heart, or he might just shoot me. And it keeps me aware of the violence. It keeps me aware that there's people like Mike out there that if I talk shit on the internet are going to walk up and throat punch me. Like, and it keeps me humble. It keeps me under control. It keeps my ego down. Same thing jiu-jitsu does, keeps my ego out of control. And I think there's just no one else has those checks, you know?
Very
Not
few
no
people
one else.
do.
Very few people.
Very few people do. Yeah. No, I think it would change their behavior in person and online.
Yeah.
The detachment of online and what I can say and post, and it's I've had a few people. Leah gets very mad at me when I do this. there'll be a few people that get really pushy. And what I end up doing is offering them a first-class airplane ticket to Kalispell. Yeah. And we can work it out on the mats, but I'm going to film it and it goes on YouTube.
How often do they come?
0.
Really? Doesn't everyone want to come to Montana? You should offer something else, like, and you can go snowmobiling. I'll pay for that trip too.
Well, it depends on the time of year, Rob. I mean, so it's not.
Well, then in the summer, be like, and we'll take you out on the boat.
That's not what they want to do, though. But then when I give them the opportunity to do what they're expressing, they don't respond.
No, of course not. I can tell you right now, and I'm going to look at the camera. If he offers you that, do not come. Right? Isn't that the quote? Do not come.
Oh, from Trump.
That's a Kamala quote.
Is it? I can't tell the difference. They're the same person.
She said the quote originally, and then he uses it.
Oh no, I've seen this in memes.
Yeah, because he says
it'll be women talking,
and then he says, "I'm going to come."
Do not come.
Yeah.
I've lost complete track of our fucking political system.
Well, it's almost here. You better get ready, guy.
So, how long past November 5th? I was looking at one of my social feeds. I'm not very active on X.
Yeah.
But I hopped on there, and this could be a reflection of who I follow or whatever it is, but every single post was political.
Yeah.
How long past November 5th do you think that's going to happen? Because I really
It all depends. I think it all depends. I think that...
Do you think there's actually an end state where it doesn't?
I think that if Trump gets elected, I think that it's going to... Because, I mean, last time, you look at all, it was the George Floyd, it was... I personally believe that the pandemic was released to fuck Trump up.
Intentionally or accidentally?
And I think intentionally. I'm a much bigger believer of like there's the giant world powers, right? Because I think about on my little scale of marketing.
Could they be a cabal?
They're a cabal, yes.
Okay.
So I think of my little scale of marketing, like how much I think about what the Instagram page is going to do or how I show or how I explain things. And like, that's my little plan in my head. If I had all the money and the resources in the world and I was trying to control the world, yeah, they have a bigger plan than me, right?
Do you think it's actually a coordinated and linked in group of people? Because I asked, what's the word that people use for this? The global elites or whatever?
So I think there is.
But so who's in that? And who is actually pulling the levers?
half the people we don't know, right? They have so much money and so much power. I think there's a couple of people front facing. But I think there's them, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think that they rely on, like, I don't think that like corporate America and then social media and everyone, I don't think they're all aligned, or like mainstream media has a pretty good narrative going across, but I don't
mainstream advertising. You mean?
Yeah. But I don't think that they're aware of the global elites plan.
But how do they meet? Like, you're saying that they have like
I think they fly into a dark layer.
Into a dark layer?
Yeah, I think there's I think it's really dramatic and cool.
Do you think that they would actually get together like that? My thing is the coordination. How are they coordinating and pulling the levers?
Yeah, I think there's just so much money, and I don't think it's necessarily pulling. It's pulling levers and then just knowing that everyone's going to do what they do.
COVID is an example. Somebody would have to make that decision. I would push back on saying it was intentional at Trump, because who fucking knew how long that would take and what actual impact it would have. I do believe that the science shows it was certainly modified by humans. And I feel like if you do some research on the Wuhan coronavirus laboratory, some of the safety protocols were a little dodgy.
And I just look at, once again, I'm an idiot, right? I'm not smart. So a lot of times when I have to look at things, I just take the most basic things. I've never seen Trump on his heels. He's always been overly confident. Mm-hmm. When that first started, we saw him standing next to Fauci, and he was on his heels. Like,
we all were.
You could tell he was just like that. It's just about the only thing, like an attack, a nuclear bomb, like all these different things. I feel like Trump still would have been Trump. And for a couple months there, we saw him like, I don't know what to do. I think it's the only thing that could check him. So once again, if I was there from dude, I mean, the whole getting shot at thing, he still stood up with massive confidence, right? And I think that if I was really intelligent, had all the money in the world, I'd be like, damn, like Trump is on a roll. He's not part of our gang. What's the one way we can fuck him up? They're like, oh, let's use plan B, which is releasing that. So anyway, that's I don't want to get too far into that and be labeled as the guy who thinks that they released COVID to stop Trump. But me being an idiot. And
do you think the assassination attempt was an inside job?
I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The number of people who've reached out to me have said, you know that was one of his own guys shooting him in the ear, right? To which my response is, I worked with some of the most capable fucking marksmen on earth.
Yeah.
And I don't trust a single one of those motherfuckers to shoot
No,
me in the ear.
I don't think he would trust. I don't think he would trust it either. Right,
dude.
To
that
orchestrate
is insane.
And even looking at that whole thing, I'm like, are we in the Matrix? Is this something way bigger that I'm watching a movie? Because things are so crazy, and it's just like, how is this even real? But
I'll explain to you off air how I think that happened, because I
Yeah.
have a little bit of inside baseball just interfacing with one of those organizations.
Got you.
And I want to allow them the opportunity to complete their own internal restructure / investigation. But yeah, it's on that one, the Occam's razor approach is actually a little bit more applicable, because it's just the simpler answer, and the one with the fewest hypothesis is true in that particular situation.
yeah, I think it's just been lax security on him.
It was, that and a combination of travel schedule and, the Secret Service writ large, they don't get pressed in real life often. Reagan was the last time that actually happened. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Complacency is a bitch, and it's also real. I was talking to somebody recently, the pre-9/11 SEAL teams. Oh man, we used to talk about how fucking good we were and how good we were going to be.
Yeah.
And then we switched from conceptual to practical.
Yeah.
Started talking about how much we fucking suck.
Yeah, that was my cap roll. Right? Once
Your
again,
cap roll was fine. You did great.
Thanks, man.
The whole part of it is exposure.
How many times did I tap?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't put any weight into that. I went into that, because, Leah, at least once a day, Leah will ask me, what the fuck is wrong with you? Is this if you're...
No, I hear her.
Yeah, I know. And my response to that always is nothing. I'm the single most normal person that I know. But, we were talking about it before, and so she teaches the evening classes here in Kalispell. And sometimes she is a black belt. She's been doing it for, I think, 17 years at this point. She's got 3 stripes on her black belt, so that's 9 years plus at this point at black belt. But this shit's not magic. And sometimes larger dudes will roll into her evening class. They're ready for their cap roll, so I will go and do those. And you have to do it appropriately, because you want to expose them to what the rolling environment is, when to tap and talk through things, and also kind of give them a respect. You need to give them a little bit of a dose of, hey, this is what's actually possible, and this is where you are in your journey.
Yeah.
But you don't want to take it so far where they say, fuck this.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah, because it's a tenuous balance, and you have to be able to read people a little bit. You do fine with adversity. We are surrounded by people who fucking crumble with adversity.
Yeah.
And you give them the screws on a cap roll, you may never fucking see them again.
Yeah.
And I don't work at the gym or for the gym, but I'm directly impacting their bottom line if I do that. So we had that conversation of, you and Rob can't go crazy. And my response is always the same, like, I can't control what Rob does. He's fucking out of his mind. So I have to defend myself. It justifies my own behavior.
Right.
You were never out of control or in that, but yeah, it's a controlled exposure to what's possible. You did great in your cap roll, but I don't remember any aspect of it other than what we did it, because I don't care. I derive no self-worth for what happens on the
I think it was 7.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it mattered a lot more to me.
What I knew that it was going to be great for me on the first 5-minute roll, when you grabbed my collars as hard as you could and your hands were shaking, because I know that terminates in no grip.
And I hadn't been doing that.
I know.
For the last 4 months, I was like, man, my hands feel great,
Yeah.
really loose. And then all of a sudden, I went into like, let's see if I can tear these with my hands.
And so I can feel that on my end. And I just know that means for the second and third round, your grip doesn't work.
Yeah.
So hold away, sir. Maybe I'll even pretend like I'm trying to move to get out of your grips, when all I'm really trying to do is just juice your shit out.
Trust me, dude.
Yeah. But
Lot to
imagine,
learn.
But imagine in 6 months from now, you'll look back and what you would have done to the person starting, or a year from now, or 2 years from now. It's I get questions all the time from people who feel like they're stalled out in jiu-jitsu, and that's what I always go back to. Like, would you beat yourself from a month ago, from a year ago? I mean, I still to this day, like I said, I've been to a bunch of Henry seminars. We were just in Chicago. I've been through the material that he taught, and I left there still with a few aha moments. And maybe it's because he changed a word or showed something different. Like, fuck, why didn't I think? Why am I so dumb? I couldn't solve that problem on my own.
Little different perspective.
Yeah.
Which is why you need to hire life coaches more.
I'm not against that at all. No, and I'm not against it at all. I worry that bullshit artists are able.
100%.
That's what I worry about.
100%.
I would never tell people not to invest their time, energy, effort, or money in those things. My worry is be cautious, because there's a weird. I don't know if you've seen this, and I know you you travel in these circles enough to. Some events are smaller, some events are huge.
Yeah.
And I'll call them personal development seminars, for lack of a better term. I love that people go to those, but I've been around this ecosystem enough now that if you pay attention, you'll start realizing a lot of the same people keep coming and coming and coming. And the material is not that hard to understand.
No.
And a lot of the times you leave with a blueprint on how to achieve your goals.
Yep.
So why are there so many repeat customers?
You said it earlier. You said about like the SEAL team prior to 9/11 getting complacent, or Secret Service getting complacent. I mean, it's the same thing. You need that drive to stay alive. And I think, once again, a lot of us will go to those events. Like I love Tim Grover, right? Like I think I've seen him speak a few times and he's always my favorite. And he speaks and I'm just like, I get so fired up. Or Ed Milet. Ed Milet does the same speech about his dying father and being the one that changes the bloodline for his family. And every single time I hear that, I'm like, here comes Ed again. And then he leaves and I'm just like, fuck, dude, I needed that, right?
That I love about those seminars because you can outsource motivation.
Well, and I think a lot of us go back to regular life and you get in the grind and you start to lose little skills, right? Same thing. If I don't show up for you to kick my ass every once in a while, like I'm going to start losing those skills. Yeah. And I think that it is good to show up to use as that inspiration. But once again, this isn't universal for everyone. There's a bunch of people that just show up and then don't do anything with it. But like I show up most of the times because I'm actually speaking. I listen to the speakers I want and I go home and I'm on fire. Yeah. And I'll carry that fire for 2 months and then I'll start to get a little tired, or I try to take that fire from there and transition it into my employees. Like I brought my employee, like my ops manager with me this last weekend. And it was the first time I brought an employee with me. And she came back and she is fired up. And I was like, whoa, okay, if I start bringing my employees to this and feeding that fire, because we're in a warehouse in Montana in the middle of nowhere where what are these people experiencing? Like they're not, I'm the most successful person they know, but they're used to me. They see me get out of the sauna and walk up and take a shower and sit down and design. And I think bringing them to these circles every once in a while will be like, whoa, it's bigger than this. It's bigger than this. Because
my worry is they get stuck in the cycle of going to those, looking for motivation, and they don't do anything with it. And that allows bullshit artists to live in 100%, that world too.
100%. The other problem is too, a lot of these groups, and they're cracking down on it, but they were like a front to get you to invest on the backside.
Fuck yeah.
So they're like coaching you and then also being like, by the way, invest in this. And I think that a lot of those have been getting cracked down on a lot.
Probably rightfully so.
Yeah.
How did you scale Flag Nor Fail from where you started to where you're at now?
Social media.
Really?
Yeah. Social media. So
how many years were you into it before you started feeling a little bit more like an Elon Musk rocket just hurtling off the fucking pad? Because I'm assuming growth in the beginning,
the whole thing felt like that.
Yeah.
So like,
well, I mean, you started zero, so of course your first year is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I made $75 my first weekend. So I started printing t-shirts in my garage, made $75. And to me, it felt like I made money by magic. Yeah. Like I did all the work, I put them up online, and the next thing you know, $75 for just 3 t-shirts.
You made money on an idea.
And I was like, whoa. So then I started going, and it was like 3 months. And I was like, how do I get more attention? You know, I wanted to get more attention for Dana, more attention for me. So I started streaming. There's a streaming platform called Ustream. And I left it going 24 hours.
U as in the letter U or YOU stream?
I think it was YOU stream.
Okay.
It was one of the first streaming platforms. Like this is 2009.
Okay.
And I would let it go 24 hours a day. And once again, I told you all I had was effort. So I would print 20 hours a day. And every 30 minutes, I'd walk over and answer a question or say what's up to them to make sure they knew I wasn't on loop or I was real. And I just want to be like, hey, I'm the hardest worker there is. So if you sign on at 2 a.m., there's a good chance I'm here. There's going to be 4 hours where it's dark, where I'm sleeping, but the rest of the time I'm here.
One-man show at this time?
One-man show.
Okay.
And then I slowly added people. And I think the first time really feeling like I was on a rocket was I signed a lease on a warehouse. And for me, it was always barely enough to make my house mortgage. I didn't know anyone with a second house or anything like that. And when I signed that was like the big thing for me where I was like, oh, this is real. Because before it was t-shirts in my garage. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to stop, I could stop. But now I'm signing a lease where $1,600 a month, like I owe to some guy. Like this is a legal contract. And that's when it got really, really real for me. But then I brought on my brother, which was incredible. He doubled my sales in 2 months. Just looking at me being like, hey man, Like, you can't do this 20 hours a day. Let's try to, maybe we'll reach out
This
to,
doesn't scale well.
we'll reach out to the local print shop and have them do shirts. And I was like, well, yeah, but I have to do it. And he's like, no, dude, stop. So he doubled our sales right away. And then the big thing through social media was, because Dana, they weren't letting her in the industry, right?
The fitness industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she had short hair, no implants. She's broy, right? She's like a tomboy. And that just wasn't the look back then. It was like bikini models. And when YouTube first came out, I realized, I was like, man, if I can just put as much lifestyle content up as possible where people can actually know this girl, they're going to fall in love with her. Part of that was a delusional husband being like, well, I love her. Of course everyone else is going to love her.
As
right?
you should be.
So I did that. She got really popular. I did the same thing for Flag, as much media as I could put out in the background. And then, dude, just grew it through social, just as much social media. And that's why I think our media is so good now.
How long have you guys been at it?
15 years, 2009.
So just a total overnight success.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you guys are struggling with now?
So we're making the transition now. I grew up sewing, and I always wanted to sew my own apparel, but that's such a bigger game. If you've even remotely tried that, it's getting a lot easier now.
Especially at scale.
It's getting a lot easier now, but I think when I first started, it was like, you have American Apparel blanks, that's all you have. So I always wanted to get into cut and sew, and once we got into cut and sew, the big avenue was fitness. So we were a little more fitness oriented, very streetwear oriented, but I always wanted to like actually sew things, make patterns, and then get mills to manufacture them. And the move to Montana 8 years ago, I think, was getting us more outdoors. I grew up being outdoors. And then at some point in time, I stopped being outdoors and I just moved to a cubicle, right? And then...
But you have good windows.
Yeah, right? No, I didn't have any windows. And then like even everything just got so busy that I wasn't outside. So we used to come to Montana 3 times a year and do our big hikes and everything like that. And then when we moved here, it was like, okay, let's start making apparel for our lifestyle, and our lifestyle is outdoor. So we started doing cut and sew. You know, the overalls have crushed. Like, that really proved to us that we can stand up in this.
My buddy Dan, the gym owner, was wearing those. He is like in love with your flannels, in love with the overalls.
Yeah.
So it's working.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think that now the problem now is our products cost so much more, and there's so much more development time. So to where I was selling $24 t-shirts, and it was like, yeah, boom, 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 boom. Now the POs are so big. So we're running into an issue. We essentially have like 3 heads to our company, which is like development and forecasting. And then we have, let's say, creative, like media production. And then we have marketing. And our media is great. Our marketing is like sitting back and being like, hey man, can we turn up? But it's our development and sourcing that is keeping us slow, right? So I'm going to take the big risk at the end of the year and put a lot of money into the company and just be like, well, let's go for it. And I think that's what's going to really, really scale us. But it took us the last 2 years of our old fans being like, we want more big graphic tees, versus our new fans being like, your flannels, like the athletic cut to the flannels are so good, or the overalls are so good.
The cut to those overalls, it's not what people, when I say overalls, they fit way differently.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted, because I always grew up wearing Carhartt. And I think that
they fit like a sail on a fucking sailboat.
Yeah.
A spinnaker.
My lifestyle now is I wake up, I train, I shower, I get ready for the day, and then I do weird things throughout the day. So like, I'm doing a podcast today. I'm going to winterize my boat. I have a bunch of meetings, and then I'm going straight to the farm, and I have to dig and pour footers for the hay barn. Like, that's a pretty unique day.
It's a diverse
right?
day.
And then maybe I'll go out to dinner afterwards. And it's like, if I was looking for overalls, I would have to change a couple different times there. But like, we wanted to make overalls that were athletic, that were stylish, that like, from the second after I train, I can wear them all day at the office. I can do a podcast in them. I can go winterize my boat. I can go do the stuff at the farm. And then I can just meet Dana at dinner, and I don't feel silly. Like, I feel kind of cool. So
now that you have some other colors.
Yeah, we have 5 colors now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Dan might have ordered them all.
And that's what makes me have so much faith. Is
Well, how big do you think you can get it? Is it really limited for you, since you're already established in the industry? Is it limited by
Carhartt,
how much you want to put back into it?
Carhartt did multiple billions last year.
Really?
Multiple billions. And I didn't know that until I looked. Can you look up what Carhartt does annually in sales? I don't want to get it wrong, but I know it has a B.
Oh, I bet it's multiples. Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to compare us to Carhartt, right? But I actually read a book. Once again, coach. I read a book by Patrick Bet-David, and it's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And there was a time when I graduated out of life, and I was like, I don't really have enemies. Like, I don't want to have enemies.
Yeah.
Because it feels like I'm holding this weird resentment or energy that I don't want. So I even when people ask me, who are your competitors? I looked at competitors and enemies the same way because everything's war, right? I was like, oh, we don't have any. We're this unique brand that does whatever. And I read his book, and it fucking clicked. And it was like, if I was to pick Carhartt as my enemy, right? All of a sudden it's like, can I fight Carhartt fair? No. But at the size that I am, like, who knows who the CEO of Carhartt is?
Zero people. Well, if you
Exactly.
work at Carhartt,
So like, I can leverage me as the CEO, me as the designer. I can say things, like my last my last overall video, one of the clips is me naked in between. Like, Carhartt can't do that. So all of a sudden, it really made me realize all these guerrilla marketing tactics that I can do. And I was like, whoa, I have an arsenal of things that I do that don't have to clear legal and don't have to do all this and can really breed a lifestyle. So it's like, I almost have more freedom than they do to grow. So it really changed my perspective on everything. And so I don't know. Do I want to be a $1 billion company? No. Right? Because again, my number one core value is freedom. And I think that if I was to set out right now and build up a $1 billion company, I see the next 10 years of my life of not being that free. And I also know at the core that I'm a designer, and I love the creative process. And I think that's what's going to hold us back the most is, yeah, I don't want to, like, the really big pants are coming in style right now. I don't want to do that. You know, I have zero desire to design them. So I'm going to miss a lot of trends. I'm going to make a lot of the decisions that are based on my freedom and what I want. And the fact that if I did exit Flag for, say, $100 million, right? And Rob had $100 million, what would I do next? Before taxes. So
Rob has $50 million.
Rob has maybe. So Rob has $50 million, and I wouldn't retire. And it's like, I've thought about that. And it's like, well, what would I do next? And it's like, I would go start another apparel line where I can express myself creatively, like, and make stuff that I can wear every single day.
They wouldn't let you do that. If they exited you, you'd have a non-compete.
Exactly. But we're talking hypothetical.
You could
right?
you could just continue your Airbnb empire.
I don't love that though. It wouldn't give me passion in life,
It
right?
would hold you over for the 3 years that your non-compete was governing.
That's true. True. I could figure out something for 3 years.
What do we got? Well, let's take a guess. Carhartt, 2.5.
Okay. Why are you zoomed in so much?
I don't know. What are you doing, Michael?
It messes it up when you.
Okay, can you just read it to us then?
Yeah.
Can you
1.8 billion.
1.8 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1.8 billion. Now that's once again,
$18,000 million.
yeah, it's a lot, right? It's a lot. So I mean, that's possible, right? So if we're looking at what's possible, that's possible. How big I want to make it, I don't know. I know I don't want a big team, but I want everyone on my team to be really, really good.
What do you consider to be a big team? More than a dozen?
I don't necessarily want over 50 employees, right? I'd rather have 50 employees that are making really good money and feel like they're a part of something special than 100 employees that I'm looking at them as numbers where it's like, oh, we need to cut here and hire here, right? Because I think that, once again, I've never made like tons of money, but I've made tons of money, and everything hasn't changed. Between me making enough money to survive and me making enough money to buy airplanes, the happiness doesn't change.
Yeah.
You know, and I think looking back at like my really dark periods, the biggest thing I missed was like relationships. So if I can focus more on building up those relationships and seeing employees win, things like that, that's what's going to really fulfill me. So I don't think that is being a $1 billion company. I think with 50 people, I like seeing the challenge of seeing how big I can get with 50. And right now I think we have 35.
Okay.
So
what's Dana got going on? Does she work with you at Flag Nor Fail? Does she have her own?
Yeah. So Dana has a coaching app, which is dominating. She does daily upload workouts. And I think there's 3 different versions on there. It's $7 a month. And then she does videos of it. And we started it when COVID hit. Supply chains were like the big talk. So my first thought was like, we need to start a business that doesn't rely on supply chains.
Straight direct to consumer with information.
And right there it was like, boom, Dana has to start a coaching app. She has so much knowledge. Let's make it really cheap and affordable. So it's $7 a month. It's called DLB Daily. Mm-hmm. You sign up and it's just like, she pours everything into that. And she has 18,000 members.
That's fucking insane.
It's insane. It's insane. And like her retention rate's crazy. And she pours everything into that. So she's doing that. She's really into horses right now. She loves horses. She loves traveling. She likes jiu-jitsu. Yeah, she's in an interesting thing. A lot like, we don't really talk about it because I think it's too heavy for her, but a lot like when you get out of the military and you don't have your mission anymore, right? She stopped competing, which that was, everything was focused towards that. And she stopped that in 2015. And since then, it's been like, what is as serious as this? What is as passionate about this? What is my mission? And I think that's something where she's finding little things, but she hasn't like assembled it all.
Yeah. She's got time.
Yeah, she has tons of time. But she assists on Flagner Fail. We travel together. When she speaks at these coaching things, she's so good. So good. Like she has the entire room crying. Like it's really, really
That's
rad.
Not good.
Crying out of happiness.
No, that's not true.
Really?
You're lying.
I think it's out of happiness.
I feel like she takes them on an emotional journey and destroys them on the fucking shipwreck rocks.
No, because...
sorry, I'm thinking about myself.
You make everyone cry.
No, I don't try to make anybody cry.
Yeah. No, I think it's just, it's so passionate, right? And she's so real that I think when she does her speech, people just feel it. You know, it's like when you watch a movie and it's like that really dramatic part and like you feel yourself start to tee up and you're like, I don't know, this isn't real. I don't even know these people,
yeah,
but
the emotions are real.
It's part of it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What do you got planned for over the winter? Which winter is?
I'm trying not to
fucking
travel.
here?
I'm trying not to travel. So I have two more little trips and then I've sort of canceled everything else. Mostly because I just want to focus on Flagner Fail.
Yeah.
I think that I've been spreading myself very, very thin, and a lot of it's been travel. I mean, you know, it's
fucking
you travel
exhausting.
just as much, and
Yeah.
I feel like as I come towards the end of the year, I always had the same thing. It's like I wouldn't have done half of those trips. Like, there's so much opportunity, there's so much stuff to do. There's, you know, I'm home for 2 weeks and I look on Instagram. I'm like, damn, everyone's doing such cool stuff. Let's book
a
something
trip.
out,
Yeah.
right? But I think I'm really trying to focus right now and realize like, don't get thrown off by that. Like let's focus on the brand. Do it for your employees, do it for everyone else around you. And like, I think it's our big opportunity to actually scale. So
Yeah. Where do you host all your Airbnbs? I don't know if I've ever asked you that. There's got to be a website.
yeah, Stay Glacier.
Does that have them all?
That has them all. Yeah. My brother has a bunch too.
Okay.
We originally started, so the way Airbnb generally works is you find a management company and the management company does it. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't like is when I first I think I started with an A-frame, like the toilet would get backed up, for example, right? And the management company just does copy and paste messages. And then they message you and they're like, by the way, the toilet's backed up. And then you need to source the plumber that goes and fixes it. So we did that for like 3 months. And I was like, I'm just solving all the problems anyway. They're just sending copy and paste messages. So I actually started a management company. The management company is called Stay Glacier. And they do a really good job because they're so dialed in. They have all their contractors. They know how to talk to people, but they manage everything for me. So I don't even think about it.
So if people want to come visit Montana, though, and stay at one of your places, Stay
If you want
Glacier?
to, yeah.
Some
You
of
don't
them are
have to.
cool. You don't post
They're
enough
all cool,
pictures.
dude. They're
you
all
don't post
cool.
enough pictures about all the cool properties.
Why would I?
Well, I don't know, so people could see how cool they are.
They're all booked out anyway.
Well, it's fine.
That's
Whatever.
the cool thing is like it's a recipe that just works. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to say like, hey, this is my house, come stay here. They're all just booked out, and the reason that they're booked out is when I buy houses, I don't just buy houses that are priced appropriate. I think about the people that are coming to Montana. What do they picture Montana looking like? Like
The TV show Yellowstone.
yeah, so they're like, I want to be in a small A-frame, or I want to be in a log home, or I want to be on a lake, or it has to be special. And I think that's right now the Valley. The consensus is that Airbnbs are slowing, and the reason it's slowing is because people just bought stupid houses downtown Kalispell that it should be a house for a family to live in. And instead they bought it and they put it on Airbnb and it worked for 6 months. But now people are like, if I'm coming to Montana, I don't want to stay downtown Kalispell
If you
on
put it in a
quarter of an
lineup
acre.
of other houses,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know it's in Montana. Yeah, what you're talking about is the experiential nature of people coming up here.
Exactly. And I also, that's how we decorate too. So we do all the lights. I make sure that like, if you're posting on, the way I think about it, if you're going to post on Instagram, are you proud of where you're staying? And that's how I buy houses. As simple as that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good philosophy. All right.
But yeah, they're all just doing great, doing their thing. Don't think about them all. I wouldn't know what else to do with investment money, honestly.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah. What else, dude? We've been at it for 2 hours. I'll let you get on
Have
with
we
your
really?
day. Yeah. It's noon.
Oh my goodness.
I'll let you get on with your day.
I don't know what else is new, dude. You're at that.
I don't have anything new. I do the same old shit.
Yeah, dude, you're doing everything.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You don't know what you're doing?
I'm going hunting tomorrow. I know that much.
Where at?
Wyoming.
Okay.
It's a short drive.
What are you hunting?
Elk, of course.
Okay.
Why don't you hunt?
Time. I used to hunt when I was younger.
Not elk.
No, I used to hunt deer. But I think I stopped at like 14 years old because like sports started and I got really busy. And then like my life's just been busy. And I have
I'll give you some elk.
I have a hard time carving out. I would love to.
I'll give you some to get you a little fire burning inside of you, and then we'll go hunting next year.
Well, I think the problem now is that it would just be like, I don't know where to start, right?
You don't need to know where to start. You just need to know the right people to ask. That's all I got to do.
Exactly. And it would be also carving out the time to do it.
Yeah.
Like if you said like spring turkey, it's like, yeah, I get that. Like I can handle that, deer, anything like that. But I know elk is like a different.
It doesn't have to be. Give me 7 to 10 days next year in the fall.
All right.
You
I
can
need
have
to
some
I need to get my
Starlink
shit
there.
together. No, I don't want it Starlink.
I
want to like, and that's the thing is like when I do it, I don't want to be checking emails at night or designing at night. Like I want to be fully,
a week. Give me a week next year. We'll do something.
I can get my shit together.
Yeah. Well, we can
by
also
next year.
schedule it literally 10 months in advance.
Perfect. I'm just like, hey, it's blocked off.
Yeah, you can boundary around it.
Because none of those trips I do long. So even my Alaska fishing trip, I was there 3 days. No, I was there 2 days with 2 travel days.
Yeah.
So it's like I just have a hard time. And that was the only trip I really took this year that like wasn't work related. Everything else, went to Costa Rica, work. Like everywhere has been work. So it's hard for me to allow myself to carve out time that's like, this is just for me.
I get it. What do you want to leave people with? Closing thoughts by Rob Bailey.
I don't know. I just gave thoughts for 2 hours.
Okay. We could leave it on those thoughts if you want.
Yeah.
Flagnarfail.com.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't like to give out.
I said it.
Okay. Just don't ask
I'm
me
going
to
to put it in
say
the
all
show
that.
notes too.
Oh,
And Stay Glacier.
Well, as long as I don't have to do it. I hate doing
You don't
that.
have to do any of that.
Okay.
All right.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Sure.
Nothing to do with them. It's just the coffee I drink.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of places to get coffee. Go wherever you want to. That's my pitch.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.